Everyone's had enough of wearing face masks. A lady this week contacted me and said she's had enough of her husband's infidelity. The Archbishop and the Catholic community have had enough of the failure to deliver truth and justice after the Easter Sunday attacks. Pope Francis is on an historic visit to Iraq, a nation that's had enough of war and suffering and religious intolerance. We all reach a point when we've had enough of something. And it happens when we become tired of accepting less than what's possible, or less than what is deserved. It happens when what is fair and decent is just cast aside because of selfishness and greed. It happens when we refuse to remain silent in the face of corruption, dishonesty, and injustice. There comes a point when we've had enough. Jesus reached the point of enough in this evening's gospel. Enough of the cheating and the profiteering that had degraded the temple. He'd had enough of worship that is just reduced to its lowest form of obligation and nothing more. And so the time had come to restore the temple to a place of prayer, of welcome, of charity, and of peace. What Jesus did in cleansing the temple, we too must do in cleansing the temple of our own lives and in the broader society. For example, to say enough to the powerful media that just try to sell us all kinds of values and needs and wants that are based on instant gratification and superficial happiness, that tell us who we should be, what we should look like, what we should do. To say enough or to say enough to the greedy money changers who shortchange us of the time and commitment that we all need for meaningful relationships with family and friends. To say enough to all that is meaningless, degrading, or destructive in our lives, that make us less than what God created us to be. So the question is, have we allowed these other values to replace the values of the gospel, the values of the commandments which you heard in the first reading? And so Lent wants us to look very closely at our lives and indeed our world, and to see, is there something in us that we need to say, enough? The time has come to cleanse my life of this or that, because it is reducing me. It's making me less than who God wants me to be. So we think this week, what is enough in our lives, in our world? To think very closely. And has the time come for you and for I to say enough?